Hey everybody, Dave Woodson, Roll of Prime Real Estate here in Northwest Indiana. Live as we happen here in the group, and hopefully the group is live. I hope you guys can see me live in the group. I'm going to go to the group now. Give me like 2 seconds if you're watching me, and I apologize if you are watching me and seeing this as we happen. We are broadcasting live. Maybe. Maybe we're seeing this. We're live, everybody. How you guys doing tonight? Oh, I better get my notes. I actually am prepared for the night show. Right here, we have 7 points for the night show, as a matter of fact. So be prepared for that. I'm waiting for James Festini to join me. Maybe he's probably already has. Can't get in or something. Let's go see here real quick. Okay, special guest James Festini coming on here in just a few minutes. He's walking toward the screen as we happen. He's a constant door knocker. He's always out prospecting. He makes 100 dials a day. He makes 100 calls a day. He hold on a minute. I'm trying to do something here real quick. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong this week? There we go. Sorry about that. So yes, I'm still in the unfinished master suite of the house here. Hey, buddy, what's going on? Jim Morgan, everybody. Chris is here as well. Oops, someone else just popped on mid ducked off. So why are you losing prospects? I mean, I probably get 2 or 3 calls a day off Zillow. I'm a big Zillow guy, so if you're not a Zillow person, I'm sorry for that. But I'm a big Zillow guy. I don't do a lot of prospecting per se. But that's something that I'm going to be working on. That's one of my goals this year is to be working on that. And before we get started, tonight's drink is a Virgin Bloody Mary. Why a virgin? I'm taking a new medicine that I can't drink for 2 weeks with it, so I'm not. So this is a dry wine with Woodson. So it is what it is. Maybe next week or week after next, I'll have a bottle of wine here. But you guys know how the show works. If you guys want to ask questions, we don't have a show, so hopefully you guys got plenty of questions. So why are you losing prospects? I mean, so where do you get your prospects from? I know James, the special guest tonight, is going to be is hopefully joining us soon. He's probably running late. Last time he ran late as well. He door knocks, he calls, so I mean, I get him off Zillow, I get him off Facebook ads. We all have our own different ways of getting prospects and things like that, or generating leads. Leads turn into prospects. Prospects turns into a solid appointment. Things like that. That's the general flow of a good lead generation system. So why are you losing prospects? One is you're not organized. You don't have a steady flow of follow up. I mean, I'd like to sit there and say that I'm perfect at it, and I know for a fact that I'm not perfect at it. Because if you don't answer the phone within the first 3 days, I generally drop you. So that's one of my goals for this year is to work on my follow up, and then what part of my follow up is to get my CRM up and running. And I'm actually writing my own notes down here real quick. Is get my CRM. The CRM that I use is Lion Desk. And if you want a link to that, I'll put a link to that in the show notes for this. I use Lion Desk, and Lion Desk has a follow-up system in there, and I'm going to be following that this year. My goal, I'm on page 5 I'm cleaning out my CRM right now, as a matter of fact. And one of the things, I'm on page 5 of 29. I started with 34 pages. I think I'm down to 32 now, so I'm actually deleting people out of my CRM. The people that I'm deleting are ones that don't have a good phone number, a good email address, or I have no clue who the hell you are. It's all part of the process. I mean, that's just, you might think name and numbers is good enough for you, but I just some of the people I just don't want to follow up with, so I don't. Hey, Bill Crane, everybody. Warren Adams is in the house. Angel Cesario is in the house. I'm not gonna say your last name, Angel. I'll screw it up. And getting text messages. Sorry, folks. It happens all the time. So you're not organized. You don't have a good lead flow or a good prospect flow. So you're losing prospects that way. Live video interrupted. What's going on? Who's killing me here? And I've got perfect Wi-Fi here right now, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I got A+ Wi-Fi right now, but that's we're gonna keep going on. You guys catch up to the show. So part number one is number two. You don't follow up, or you don't follow up, or you don't follow up. But it's plain and simple. I mean, I get a Zillow lead last night, and I called within. Hey, Bill, I appreciate it. All the way from Beverly Hills. How's the Wi-Fi out there? Probably better than what I'm getting right now. So if you don't follow up, because last night I got one at 10:40, and I was in bed, already taking a sleep aid. I was going to call the guy and start stuttering. So I let it go to this morning, but I immediately followed up at 8:30 this morning. It went nowhere, but at least I called. And most agents don't call at all. They simply just refuse to call. They're afraid to call. They want their CRM, and here's a good example of a CRM doing the heavy lifting. They expect their CRM to do the heavy lifting for them. Like they have like BombBomb, which I have BombBomb as well. BombBomb sends out an immediate video almost immediately, but they expect that to do all the heavy lifting. And expect the prospect to call them, and that just doesn't work. Keep it clean, Warren. Come on, pal. I love tomato juice. Mike Holbrook's in the house. You make a very good, valid point, Bill, because most agents don't know what to say when they call. I keep it simple. Hey, this is Dave Woodson. You were just on Zillow. You were just on this. You were just on this. You're looking at the house at 1050 North or 1000 North. Hey, James Festini's in the house, everybody. You're in the mobile office, aren't you? And you just froze up. Most agents don't really know what to say. I keep it simple. Here's what you called on, and here's why I'm calling you back. And are there any questions that I can answer for you? If there's not, do you want to see the house? Or have you been pre-approved? Would you like to get pre-approved? Here, I'm gonna have my guy call you. And that's exactly what I do. James Festini's back in the house, everybody. Can you hear me? You keep freezing up. Oh, you're there, but you're not there. So I'm watching this one. I should be watching this one. So what would you say to them, Bill? I can't read my number 3 point. Your script. Can't read my number 3 point. I can't read my own handwriting. Son of a gun. Who else just popped in the house? Abe Mendoza's in the house, everybody. Abe Mendoza. You come from the mortgage industry. That's where I learned my bread and butter. That's where I cut my teeth, calling leads on a daily basis, getting the phone slammed down on me because it was fun. Hey, David Fresquez, what's going on, buddy? I'm gonna say number 3 is your script sucks. Your script sucks. James says he's back in the house now.
Try that again.
You looking good? Are you in the mobile office?
Yeah, I'm in the mobile command center.
What do you drive for the mobile command center?
It's a modified Sprinter. You haven't seen the video, man? It's a YouTube video on there.
I think I've seen the video
How
of it.
that?
I'll go look for it. I'll put the link. I'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah, yeah.
So why do
Yeah,
you think
imagine.
people lose prospects?
This is on a it's on a laptop. This is on a laptop, man. So I can actually give you guys the grand
Holy
tour.
cow! Look at that.
It's a Mercedes Sprinter, but it's completely gutted to be a real estate office. So on this side, it's got the two 27-inch monitors, the Surface Book, the iPad Mini, Wi-Fi hotspot. It's got all the it's got the Chromecast and Apple TV,
Wow.
and then plenty of seats in the back, and it's wrapped, so it's got all my graphics on the back of it. And yeah, man, it's the future. I'll bet you 10 years from now. I've already seen two in the wild, well, on YouTube. But I guarantee you 10 years from now, you're going to be seeing doctors making house calls, chiropractors making house calls. I guarantee, man, this is just the beginning. 10 years from now, with this whole mobile society, you're going to have like gyms pulling up to your driveway and, in modified trucks. And yeah, man. People want it now, then this is how it's going to have to go.
That's killer. I love that. And my daughter would kill for me to have one of those things. I just bought a Ridgeline yesterday or Thursday,
Nice.
and that's my
Nice.
mobile office now at this point.
Yeah,
But as a realtor, everywhere you are, that's your office at that point.
I was always drilling things into my, literally, like I had a Hummer before, and by the end of the 10 years, there were drill holes from like drywall screws mounting crap into the dashboard. So it was an evolution, and this was just kind of the next step. So yeah, I dig it, man. I can work anywhere, anytime. In full disclosure, I am at Knott's Berry Farm, California. 15 minutes ago, I was on the Montezuma's Revenge, and my watch went off. I'm like, gotta go, babe.
I hope it's worth your while on this one.
Work hard, play hard, man. I owe you. Last time we didn't get to hook up because I was on the go then. But we drove this with the expectation that this was going to happen. So no doubt about it, I want to do this.
Cool, I appreciate it. So why do you think agents lose prospects? What is your top 2-3 reasons why agents lose prospects?
It's funny you mention that because I did a video last week on YouTube about a $40,000 fail where it really was. I mean, if you're into massive lead generation, there's really no excuse why, unless you've got a lot of leads, why you would lose leads. Unless you got a lot of money, why you would lose leads. Like to me, the reason I do is because I generate a lot of leads, and you get addicted to the game of lead generation. So a lot of the people who follow my style is just massive amounts of prospecting, and so you generate 2-3 leads a day, through your own efforts. By the end of the week, you got 15 or 20. By the end of the month, you've got 50 or so easily, bona fide leads. It doesn't take very long for you to start having them fall through the cracks if you don't have the right CRM in place. But above and beyond that, checking a box in most CRMs that says next call date, next follow-up date. It's scheduling the activity that's most important, and that is the next contact. A lot of times you have, that's why I left one of the big boys. It rhymes with pop and produce, and they really, in the very beginning of their software, I was with them since DOS in 93 and 92, and they had an emphasis on that next call date. So if you generate a lead, you put the name, you put the number, you put the email address, all that stuff. But the single most important function of a CRM is the contact. And if you don't schedule it with a next follow-up, it completely, it will get lost. If you don't put it on your calendar and you don't have like a religion of getting up in the morning and hitting that follow-up call list, whether it's 1 or 20, they're just as important as the expireds, if not better. They should be. For sell-by owners are not the low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit is the lead that you self-generate. But I think it's a lot of it just has to do with improperly scheduling the next activity, implementing a plan of action. I think sometimes people put in reoccurring events in the CRM. Sometimes you have that where you get into your CRM and you mark it for a next call date, and then you say, do it every 7 days. And I think that's a fatal error, because if you miss that first 7 days and then all of a sudden the CRM hits you for another 7 days and then 7 days, it starts seeming like as if your contact management is becoming overwhelmed because you've got duplicated next call dates for the same individual, rather than just, I don't know, you start losing respect for your leads. You start thinking your leads are crap when you've got too many. So every lead matters, and scheduling them and following that schedule. There's a reason why you scheduled it, and we tend to forget why we schedule it in the first place.
So what's CRM? People are going to ask at some point, what CRM do you use? Are you still using the Pop Produce? Or using something else?
No. I left them a long time ago. You know, they're the Radio Shack of real estate software right now, as far as I'm concerned. They're primitive. They haven't. Yeah, I've got nothing good to say about those guys except for they missed the boat. It's Mojo. Mojo, on the opposite, a contact management like Top Pro was once upon a time, had implemented data capabilities of clicking a button. And this was back in the day where you could plug your phone line into it with a splitter, and you would have your headset, and you'd hit a button, and it would dial the lead. So if you have a list of names and numbers you got to call back in a certain amount of time, the ability to put it on, not necessarily auto dial, but not have to, go in and hit a couple of buttons and then ring 3 times and then put it back down and no one's there, and then you kind of, no hands free. I mean, it was an evolution. Where Mojo's selling solutions right now, I consult with them, and I have for about 7 years now. And it's funny when you say that you're a consultant for the Mojo, these guys actually, many times when I start saying, okay, here's what you need, it's almost as if they are listening. Because I'll say, here's my workflow, here's how I function, and they'll go on a screenshot and they'll watch me telephone prospect, or I'll send like snippets of videos. Here's how the workflow should be. I want this button here. I need this extra button here. I want it to do this when it does that, and I want this action to happen as I'm calling here. And they develop their software around a top producing agent who telephone prospects, but also implements other forms of communication like email, like snail mail, like callback dates. They've just recently integrated with BombBomb. They synchronize with a lot of the data providers that you might already have in other platforms, like the RedX for the expireds. And, but I try not to have too many CRMs, because the problem with having too many CRMs is the same problem with having too many databases. You just have too many. It's like churning butter. Although I've never churned butter. But it's not having.
I have, by the way.
All right. Well, maybe you can correct me on this ignorance, but it's a bucket, right? And you spin the stuff, and the cream rises to the top. If you have one bucket and you work on that, and you rise the cream to the top, you get results. But if you have like 10 different buckets, aka expireds, aka for sell by owners, past clients, sphere of influence, I like this north side of the lake, I like the south side of the freeway, I like all this crap, and all of a sudden you're segmenting all of your databases. Forget using other CRMs. I'm talking about just even within your database. You've got all these subcategories, and you never just get to it. You never get in and start churning. You're like, oh, well, let me go to this bucket, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that one's good. And so you never, this is, for me, it's like the difference between a marathon and a sprint. You have all these different databases. Unless you're quick to run to the next track and sprint, you can engage and cool down and engage. But a lot of times when you're running on multiple tracks, that cool down period, if I, athleticism as an analogy, that cool down period from jumping to one track to another could be the difference of 20, 30 minutes of downtime, instead of just getting into one database, knowing the source of that data, and then hitting dial now. And I don't care that my expireds are mixed in with my past clients, or mixed with my sphere of influence, or mixed with my for sale by owners, or mixed with my cold calls, or mixed with my follow-up calls. I just get in there and I dial, and that's how I'm able to communicate by door knocking 100 doors a day. I do it. And telephone prospecting to contact 100 people a day, not dial 100 numbers, speak to 100 people a day, which translates to like 1,500 dial numbers with a 6% pickup ratio. So I'm literally making 200 minimum attempts at a sale a day. I generate a lot of leads. Having a system in place so that they don't fall through the cracks is critical. And if you're not a propeller head, you're not into tech, the minimum is a database. Even your company CRM, if they don't have a next call date as a priority, which that company, that top company, they somehow from 1990, when it was in DOS, I started helping my parents in real estate and getting their software set up, and that's kind of how I got into it, and setting up their when they were in DOS, and when they went to Windows, their original version of Windows in like 93, well, Windows 95, but there's Windows right before that, about 2 years. They had, like I said, they had it so that you could dial people, right? And manipulate the data and shuffle databases and shuttle databases so that it all just kind of, there was a flow to, here's the bulk of people who don't know me, here's a bulk of the people who know me, and somewhere in between is the follow-up. Where do they settle? So I've got a lot of overthinking and a lot of time invested in making sure that I don't have leads fall through the cracks. I do have, in my opinion, a formula that is flawless if I follow it, which in that video that I used last week was straight up my fault. Like, there's no one else to blame. If you want, I'll tell you the story. It's pretty sad. We got some like violin music.
I got a lost sound on you.
No, okay. December 1st, 2017, I go out and I'm knocking on doors. I do every day, doors a day. And I come up across a door with a homeowner, where there's a vacant house. The door's wide open, the garage is wide open, and it's empty. And I knock on the door, and some gentleman is there. And I said, "Hi, my name is Agent with Company. I was just wondering if you were thinking of selling your house." That's what I do. That's all I do. And he looks at me, and then he peeks his head out through the garage door, and his wife, and she's like, "Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, we are. Our renters just moved out." I'm like, "Okay, great. Do you have any idea what it's worth?" "Well, we kind of do." "All right. Well, I'd love to keep in touch with you. Maybe we should get, where do you guys live?" I go, "If you don't live here, live in an area where clearly no other agent has them in their database because they don't live around here. So the fact that I'm there was a blessing, a gift of the lead gods in a moment of just pure door knocking heaven." I get them December 1st. I get their name, number, email address. December 3rd. Error number 1, not recommended in the Festini formula. December 3rd, they get into my database. I put them into a system to send them. I got secret systems, and I got public systems, but I got ways of getting them in a follow-up or drip campaign, either with your Mojo or other avenues, to send them a CMA. "Hey, how's it going?" December 8th, I see that they log into that system, my website. I see that they log in, but I don't get alerted because I'm not paying attention. We're rolling into the holidays. I'm not looking away. There's, I got so many leads, blah, blah, blah. And although during this time, I'm thinking to myself, as I continue to prospect, I prospected, 100, up until like the week before Christmas almost. So I was seriously looking for something. I wasn't expecting it, but it was there. You could generate leads at that time. December 8th, they go in there. I crap you not. January 12th, I get on the phones. And I'm dialing my follow-up calls, and I've kind of run through the list a little bit. And during that time, somewhere in the back of my head, I'm thinking, Mr. Jackson, man, that was a good lead, man. I should probably, no, I know he's in the system. He's already automated. I'm cool. Never really going back to massage it, never really doing anything. Where what I should have done is set an appointment right there and then. That was critical error number 1, but they're grubbies. I did try at that moment, and they said, "Well, we're going to get back. Send us your information." So I do. What I should have done is called the next day. What I should have done is delivered a full-blown slam package at their doorstep the next morning or that day. Like, stop what I'm doing, get in my car, prepare full, everything. drive it to their house far, far away. Even if I sent it by burro, it would have made it by the time I. So January 12th, pick up the phone and I open up BombBomb. I use BombBomb. So I log into BombBomb and I started leaving the message. Hey, Mr. Jackson, it's James Festini. I was at your door a couple weeks ago. Hope you had a good holiday. Happy New Year. Just wanted to reach out to you and see if you guys were ready to start talking about selling your house. And I hit, give me a call. My number, whatever, right? They're BombBomb. Hit stop. And just before I hit send, I go, something tells me that was a good lead. Let me click the button. That's the beauty about Zillow. And no, there's nothing beautiful about Zillow. But that's the beauty about Mojo is that they do have one button that you can click on Zillow and get into the head. I mean, I hate Zillow. I love that I have a secret weapon to get into the brains of the general public. I mean, come on. That is just
right.
9 people, you can read their mind because it's published on the internet. So I know what they're thinking. So I click on Zillow because it's a Mojo just to kind of see, what's going on. They listed December 12th-ish.
Oh.
Which means on December 8th, when they checked my is they were on the internet looking at my data, and then their wife probably came in and said, honey, did you feed the cat? And he's like, no, dear, hold on. Okay, I'll do it. He got up from his computer, walked over, fed the cat, and then came back down. He's like, what was I doing? Oh, yeah, I was going to check the value on the appraisal. What was that, Zillow? And then, left my site for a second. And then just clicked on, and I know the agent that they listed with was an agent who clearly spends at least $20K a month on Zillow. I know that they clicked, yeah, I'm curious. And because they're our top agent in my city, probably called within seconds. And they went with them. And I'm sure that later that day, the wife comes back in. She goes, hey, we need more cat food. Let's go to the store. And the husband and wife are driving in the car. And he goes, oh, by the way, I set an appointment with an agent. She's like, oh, is it that gentleman? And this is in my head. I already made up the story. She goes, oh, is it that agent, that guy who came at the house? He's like, no, he really never called me back. I just went with whoever on Zillow. She said, okay, and then just I'm gone. $40,000. That was almost $1 million listing that I had. So right in that same day when I hit record on the video, because I was fumed, right? It was when you posted, I'm like, Dave, dude, you must be spying on me. You must be reading my mind, man. It hurts no more than what and that happens. So, dearly beloved. Oh, wait, that's the wedding one. It is a sad, sad story, and it is one that none of you guys should ever suffer through. If you're paying attention, all I had to do was show a little more respect to my database. I go out and I generate a lot of leads, and when you're a rock star and you got all these beautiful women throwing themselves at you, none of them, they're disposable. You're like, man. But when you're when you're the roadie and you get a beautiful woman, you're like, oh, I'm marrying this one. And you got to treat your leads like you're the roadie and not the rock star. You got to show.
So I'm really surprised, and this is the pot calling the kettle black, the whole 9 yards. That you would wait 2 or 3 days to put them into a database. Well, I mean, I'm surprised you don't do it the next day or that afternoon or right. I'm right then. I mean, I'm surprised your process is. And I'm not throwing rocks at your ship or anything like that. Is it almost seems loose a little bit? I mean, or is it just that time of the season?
I think it was just a temporary lapse in judgment. I use an application called Spotio.
But I kind of thought you did.
When I get the lead, I'm sitting right there and I'm typing it in there. Name, number, email address. It's not like I try to remember it. It's in a database that I can go back that night. And I do go back that night. It's just that perfect storm of just not. My bad, It went in, and it had a callback date. It had everything in place except for the part where, because it was on December 9th, December 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, or whenever that last week I stopped. And then when I come back in, I think I took the last 2 weeks off. I don't think I really ever went back into the office until after the new year. that, I mean, I was doing some business, like come list me stuff, but it wasn't follow up, right? It was like, they're not gonna list right now, so it was just me disregarding the motivation. That one shouldn't have been like that. You know what I mean? That there's no excuse, right? If they were getting rid of their tents in a week or two, something different. But I mean, it was literally like, yeah, I should have, hindsight, I should have done a hell of a lot more. But again, that goes back to the problem with the flaw, the fatal flaw in my formula, and that is you become addicted to lead generation. You focus on the 100, you focus on the 200. I mean, we gamify this challenge to generate tons of prospects, and we gamify this system with each other. And I have a small group of people who come in and like they're deep, hardcore, I call Festini Mafia, who follow the formula, and they suffer from the same thing. Even with my one-on-ones, they're like, James, my only problem is follow up. I'm like, me too. Why? Let's figure out why. And the only thing I could imagine is just that leads they come too easy with hard work. You know what I mean?
Oh
It's that they're
yeah.
so plentiful. They're there, and they're not. It's not like it's easy, but again, I'm a deer caught in the headlights with Mr. Jackson. That's like otherworldly stupidity on my part. Other ones, I could see how maybe we don't think that they're serious. Maybe that's why they fall through the cracks. Is you don't, I don't know, you get like,
You
it's
don't
not.
qualify them good enough.
Yeah, yeah, and even if they're qualified, there's just this moment where you need to be at the right place at the right time, and that's what my formula works on, is putting yourself at the right place at the right time more often. And again, it's a combination of the winter season wrapping up and me just it just going in one ear out the other. Once I generated the lead, loaded them into a database, and I thought by doing autopilot, I mean, for crying out loud, I called them to reach back out and close on them. It was just, I don't know, man. Maybe I need to get it. Maybe I need to get checkup, man. Maybe I'm getting Alzheimer's, or like, something's not right. Something can't be right with my head to do that. Who would do that?
Well,
Who would do that?
I mean, like 2 years ago, I mean, I had the CMA landing page. Get the value of your home. All they had to do is put in their email address, and it immediately captured it. I was generating 10, 15 leads a day off one of those pages. Do you think I follow up with many of them? No, I'd go look at the home. Home's too crappy. Home's too far away, so I'd ignore it. I could have been sending out referrals to other agents all over my county, all over my city, all over my state. But I
All right.
dropped the ball, left and right, because I'm like you. I got addicted to the lead gen game. I was like, I got 10 leads today. I got 12 leads today. I got 13 leads today. I got 14 leads today. And I was completely addicted to it. It wasn't following up like I should. And they've all, half of them have listed. Now what I was gonna do tomorrow, or do this week, was actually to go back through that list and see who's listed and see who didn't list. If they didn't list, they're on my list to call.
Right.
So,
Right.
but then we started talking to the other issue a lot of us have is call reluctance. Oh, they're gonna hang up on me. I'm stupid for calling 2 years later.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think that a lot of that is the fear that your leads suck. That like you once had it and now you don't. That is it doesn't happen when you generate as many as I do, or as many as you were. You don't believe that they suck. You just believe that you probably can get better because they're not rolling over. You know what I mean?
right.
Somehow there's better, like beggars can't be choosers. You know, I don't know if there's another like winners can't be losers. I want to come up with something where it's like there's got to be. It has to be because you have so many that you discount the ability to set them as an appointment, or you have so few that you're afraid that something's going to happen. That they're no longer there and that you might have to go back out. And I've heard that from other trainers where they throw out that theory. I, and it's funny. I have a one-on-one, an older lady up in Seattle, and I'm setting her up in her mojo, and I'm looking at her screen and doing all the things I do. with these people when I get FaceTime. And I'm saying, here's what you got to do. I go, what about this guy? Hold on, stop. What about this guy? She goes, well, la, la, la. And I go, okay, what I'm reading here in your notes is not what I'm hearing in your voice. Let's call him. She goes, oh, you know what? I think our one-on-one session's over. Our half hour is up. I'm like, no, BS. I go, this one's on me. I go, this one's on me. Call him. She goes, oh, God, James, I'm so scared. And she literally was like, I think she was dry heaving on the other end. And so I put her on mute. She makes the call, and I'm listening. And in that one call, she sets a listing appointment. And
Wow.
and I'm listening on the other end where she, like, the conversation was, it's my script is designed to just be conversational. It's just, are you thinking of selling? Yeah. Do you have any idea what it's worth? Maybe. I can help you with that. That's what I do. Let me get your email. We'll keep in touch. And if they seem like they're hot enough, it's not just that. It's, hey, let me take a look. Let's get together. And that's kind of the way it looked. And I was on a FaceTime with her, and I was like doing this thing where I like the signal for close is like close. And she couldn't hear me because but I was just like flailing in there like,
Shut the door.
shut up, just close. And then finally I heard her, she goes, oh, well, da-da-da. And then she goes, she hung up on him, put me back, I put myself back on mute, and I was laughing my ass off. She goes, why are you laughing? I go, that was like one call. How long has that been sitting there doing possible for us to hoard leads? And that's what it is, hoarding data. So now what do? You have a massive database of 20,000, 30, 40,000 phone numbers after the do not call list. They're put into a pile. They're either cold or they're not, meaning they're hot or warm, right? Now, the varying degrees of that gets elevated when you use something like Mojo. You keep them in the database. You don't like shoot them over to something else. You keep them in there because that's where you're going to do your follow-up. That's where you're going to do your mail campaign. That's where you're going to do your email, your bomb, whatever you're into. You keep them in there, but there's got to be certain indicators in there that elevate them, like a schedule. Every day you got to drop off your kids at 7 a.m. So you put in your calendar, but it doesn't like bells and whistles, alarms and stuff like that. It's just kind of a natural flow, and that's the cold database. But then you have the listing appointment or the PTA meeting. That's where you put in there with like a little red flag indicator, and you put alerts 10 minutes, and you elevate them. It's still on the general calendar, but it's emphasized, it's highlighted, bells and whistles based on importance. And within Mojo, you can do that where you say, or any software should be able to do it.
Yeah, Lion Desk does it.
Who do you use, by the way?
Lion Desk. I mean, every morning I get an email. Here's your daily activity for today. And it gives me a list of things.
That might get
All. So,
yeah.
hey, listen.
I don't know.
Yeah, shit. I'm stuttering. The new format is 8:30 to 8:30 or 8:35. You get to pitch yourself for 1 minute. Where can people go to find you?
You gotta elevate them. You gotta do what you gotta do to keep them. But when you start extracting them and sending them somewhere else, that's where they fall through the cracks.
Right.
When you unless you're sending them somewhere else that you respect. If you're sending them somewhere else that you like, this like you got a crap. If you gotta take a crap, you don't postpone it. You gotta go. That's how urgent this has to be. Like when you gotta puke, you try to hold it back, but you can't. And we're talking like I'm real. But that's how it has to be. Like it has to be stomach cramps. It's got to be the flu, like something that doesn't go away without extracting it from the day, and pushing it off doesn't do anything for you. Your best bet is to go back into the leads. If you're hesitant, if you're looking at a database just like that one-on-one, we elevated within the same list. We elevated them by flagging it with a do not call, or I'm sorry, a call date, because all of your data is in a list. And the only way to elevate them is probably by saying they're a warm. But as long as I don't know Lion Desk that well, but if flagging it as a warm removes them from that bulk, if flagging them takes them somewhere else or separates them, and it has a chance for it, like with Mojo, for example, There's a cold prospecting database that I have at 40,000, and all my students do that too. When it becomes a warm, they stay inside of Mojo, but they get a little flag that says group warm or group hot. They're still in that general list, but to elevate them to that higher status, what you need to do is you probably only have 10 top 10 leads. I got good advice from a guy who was talking to me the other day after that video. He goes, James, we need to talk. He messaged me on Facebook. I go, what's up? He goes, why don't you just print them out? I'm like, oh shit, I'm not gonna carry that. What is this, 1980? But he said, why don't you just print out your top 10, put it in a red folder, and carry them so that you can go through it old school and they won't fall through the cracks. And that makes perfectly good sense. If you're not a slave to that, but you can carry them in your phone, you have or a database, but you have inside of your iPhone a little thing or any device called reminders. You have to-do lists, and if you can have it alert you as a reminder for your top 10, don't overwhelm yourself with follow-ups. Like your database, Lion Desk sends you an email in the morning of your daily activities. But if you get that email and it's 100 daily activity, and then immediately by asking yourself that question, you either are going to engage priority or you're going to disregard all of it because it's so overwhelming, you're going to get back into something else that isn't what you should be doing. Does that make sense?
Right. It makes perfect sense.
Is, if you feel like it's about putting the priorities. What's it? The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where it's what you have to do, what you kind of have to do, what you don't want to do, but you should do, and what you don't want to do and you don't have to do, kind of thing, where it puts it in quadrants. Showing, the only word I can use is respect to your work. If you worked at a restaurant, and you acquired customers, you would not serve them a crappy meal ever. And yet you get these customers and you let them sit at the table for 20 minutes. Or you get the customers, you give them their drinks, and then you forget about them. Or you serve them once, they come in and say, we love it, we'll come back some other time, and you have no other method of reaching out to them, where you should be out there socializing and saying, hey, where you at, man? Hey, like us on Facebook. And then we'll get 5. You would do things to acquire that repeat. Or in our business, most of the time it's not repeat, but you do things to obtain something, to a tail or a bug, right? A tracker. If every guest came into your restaurant and you could slip them a little tracker that it would buzz them the next meal they were going to have, and you'd be like, hey, guess what? Didn't you like our restaurant? Now come on in. And I'd be like, oh yeah, that's right, man. And then it would go. That's what real estate is. You plant a tracker. It's inside of your CRM. All you got to do is hit a button and not be afraid of hitting that button. And if you call them and they turn to crap, then your lead sucks. It's okay. Everybody's leads suck. Once you get past that, find the ones that don't suck. I say it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, and then every couple of hundred you find a gold needle. But otherwise you're looking for needles in general. And then taking your needles and putting them in a stack, and then looking through that stack for the golden needle. Your odds increase now that you get the golden needle because you've extracted them from that 15-foot haystack. Now you got a pile of needles, and then you go in here, and now you can kind of go through those. But the astronomical odds, like lottery odds, of you finding a qualified lead in 2018 from a needle in a haystack to a pile of needles, which everyone can get needles now, man. You say, just like you got that source, 15 a day. You don't need to look in the haystack. You got a magnet just hovering, swinging around that thing. You pick them up and drop them. Your job was to go through those needles, find out which ones stuck, chuck them, throw them into a silver pile, separate the gold ones, and then put those gold ones and stick them in a higher level. Mount them on a plaque, like I should have with Mr. Jackson. He was a golden needle, and I threw it into everyone else's, and it got diluted, and that's. I'm heated about this topic. This topic got me heated up. because I
Well, I
lost.
appreciate you being on the show this week. You got 1 minute to pitch yourself. Where can people go to find you?
Oh man, anywhere you are, I probably am. My strongest points are going to be Facebook, the Beast Mode Lead Gen Prospecting. Go to my Facebook, James Festini, sales trainer and coach. I'm a prolific snapper, like Snapchat. So I do a lot of behind the scenes, and I'm a vlogger. So on YouTube, if you like watching videos, find me on YouTube. If you like listening to audio, go to go to iTunes or wherever audio. I'm everywhere, man. But my most fun behind the scenes is creating vlogs and videos on YouTube. So
Yeah, you
YouTube and
do
Facebook.
that. You do that a lot better than I do.
Well, I do a lot of live. Everything that I've been saying, 100 doors a day, 100 calls a day. If you don't believe me, go on tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and go to YouTube and Facebook, find me, and chances are I've got two devices in my hand because I pay for one cell signal for work and one strictly to broadcast live. And you will watch me live telephone prospecting. And there's a video I got on YouTube where I published one of them for the archives, and it's 9 hours long of me sitting there prospecting, and I do it every day. You can sit here and watch me telephone prospect and door knocking. I'll take the camera with me to the door. I'm not like filming myself selfie style, but I'm going door to door, and you can watch this, and I will prove to you I walk the walk and I talk the talk. But I'm doing it. My intention is to be the #1 real estate sales trainer in the world. I'm just waiting for a few people to get off the stage, by nature or by force. And as soon as the real ones of us, there's a few of us on the internet who actually do bring something to the table with no agenda other than to prove to the world that you're being raised wrong. They're, the imprint and the people who are bringing you into I think the failure rate in this industry is because of the leadership in the sales department. People go into the business and they count on their broker or their manager to train them. And in many cases, they're good business people, but they're not salespeople. And when you go in there and that's your mother and she's raising you that way, and where you should have been raised by dad or the opposite, that's, the misdirection and the expectation in this industry is very, very diluted by individuals who want to sell you the quick fix, and it doesn't exist. There's no silver bullet. I have the fast track, but it's not the easy way, and I prove it. Festini vlog. Hashtag Beast Mode Lead Gen.
Thank you,
Dave,
sir. I appreciate you coming on.
you're doing a good thing.
Go back and enjoy your family. Go back to the Knott's Berry Farm and enjoy your family. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, man. Anytime. I appreciate it. Hopefully I brought you some value. I
You
really
certainly did,
respect
or I
it.
wouldn't have you on.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Thanks, James. Talk to you later, buddy.
take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, everybody, thanks for coming on. Appreciate James coming on tonight. Any questions, feel free to give me a call, 219-872-8000. You can follow me on Facebook, follow me on Out of the Box Owls here. Any questions? We'll see you guys next week. Next week we're talking video, so with Trevor Jones. So stay tuned for that, and I'll be posting that tomorrow, not the next day, for video. And then if you guys got any special things anything special you want me to talk about, well, let me know. I will gladly get it set up for us. And if you got a special guest you'd like me to have on, introduce me. I would love to have it on. I would love to have him on. Thanks, guys. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you all next week.